So when we came up with the idea of the Grappling Collective, it was a group of like-minded wrestlers, grapplers from different backgrounds, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, freestyle wrestling. We just all have the same passion for wrestling, and we came up with this idea of travelling across Australia and competing in as many submission no-gi grappling tournaments, as many as we could get ourselves into, and see how we went against the best of the best in Australia. When we started looking into it, the first one we found in May 2015 was called the Lockdown Submission Grappling Tournament, and it was in Bowen Hills in Brisbane. And Daniel, Jacob and I, we put our names down. We wanted to see how we'd do against the best that Queensland had to offer. So, night before the comp, we did our usual ritual, which was an unwind from the tough week we'd had before. We'd all been working hard, we'd all been training hard. So we went to the sauna, we went to the spa, but before we went in there, the boys turned up. They had our team uniforms. The boys have travelled interstate, they've travelled overseas with their wrestling back in Slovakia, and the one thing they said, you go as a team, you travel as a team, and you let people know that you are the group, you are together, you are a team. And in 24 hours, the guys in Brisbane, they're going to know what we're about as well.
Go. Go.
Yeah. On submission only finish.
It's only submission.
Or until someone dies.
Go.
My guess will be that underneath.
Go. 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 Go.
When we got to the gym in the morning, I was a little bit overweight. It wasn't nothing bad, it was half a kilogram. So I put on some clothes and I went outside around the block.
Go.
When I got back to the gym, I was right on the weight, 70 kilos on the dot.
Go.
In my first match, I took really slow because it was my first submission competition. The guy tried to catch me on some flying arm bars and guillotines, but I was really ready and prepared for something like that. I didn't want to really rush it and risk something, so I took my time and I was waiting for his mistake. Then on the end I used my freestyle and I pull him down and I finish him on anaconda choke.
Go. 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 Go.
In Jacob's second match, he stayed really patient through whole the match. He's really experienced wrestler, so he didn't want to rush for anything that he wouldn't feel comfortable in. He ended up getting a beautiful takedown right against the cage. The takedown was very well timed, and after a little scramble, Jacob ended up with a guy guard, which was really advantage position for him. He tried to break his guard, but after a little bit he gave up, and he went for a really nasty choke straight from the guard. You can see his opponent's legs just let go when the choke got really tight, and his guy tapped out in under 2 minutes. In the final, Jacob was the guy who beat it in his first match. The guy won the rest of his matches and got the rematch in the final. One of the things he tried was also jumping guillotine, which didn't work out because Jacob knew the guy's gonna go for it. The fight ended up on the floor in the scramble. Jacob was just too quick for the guy, and he ended up locking him in a body triangle.
Beautiful, Jacob.
And submit the guy with the rear naked choke.
Choke. Choke.
It was just under 2 minutes. It was Jacob's first submission only wrestling tournament, and he ended up submitting 3 guys in his 3 matches, and he spent all up on the mat less than 5 minutes, which I consider very, very successful.
I'm the flip.
0.75.
I'm the flip.
After Jacob's first 3 matches, the next guy up was Daniel, and he was actually doing me a favour. We're normally roughly about the same weight. He jumped up to the 105 kilo division, and in the first match, Daniel still did excellently, but I think the 14 kilos difference was such a huge factor. The guy was a monster, and Daniel dominated him. He had every position on him throughout the match. He had side control, he had back mount, he had a head and arm triangle at one stage, he had a Kimura, he threatened for an armbar. He had everything on this guy, and this guy really couldn't do anything at all. But I think the 14 kilos was a huge factor in what slowed Daniel down a bit. At the end of the day, he was a bit disappointed in himself in that first fight, but Jacob and I saw it as complete domination, and the judges saw it the same way as we did, and they gave him the win for domination.
Beautiful.
After my first match, I felt really drained. The match went for 5 minutes, and I went through pretty much every single position that I could. I knew I can't do it in my second match because I won't have anything left on the day. So I just took it easy. The match was pretty boring. It was 3 minutes of stand-up, and then the guy decided to pull the guard. I ended up in his guard, worked my way to side control and then to north-south. Just before the end of the match, I managed to secure north-south choke, which is kind of reverse head and arm triangle, and I tapped the guy out. In my last 2 matches, I was the same guy. The first time we went for a whole 5 minutes. I managed to win via domination. It wasn't a close match. I had a lot more control standing up. I pressed the guy against the cage, so I was controlling center cage, and I managed to take him down a couple of times as well. So I had a ground control as well. So it was unanimous decision, and I win via domination. The final was a bit different story. I went for a jumping Kimura from standing position, which I couldn't finish, but we ended up in a scramble, and I managed to secure armbar and finish the match in just under 45 seconds. My teammates timed the match, and they say it was the quickest submission of the day, which I'm very happy about.
The last one who was fighting from the Grappling Collective was Matthew. I was so excited to see him, but all the week before the competition I could see how he was nervous and he didn't feel really confident. He never done in the competition before out of the Sydney. In his first match he was so rushed, and he just like almost ran into the cage, and he won so much. Then the guy caged him down, and he tried to choke him on the guillotine, but Matt defended his submission, and then he was focusing so much on one submission which didn't work, and then he lost the match via domination.
After Matt's first match, we tried to go to him in a right headspace. As we said before, he wasn't in the right space from the beginning of the week, but I hope that after his first match he shook everything off and maybe work his way up to the finals. He got on the mat, he was a lot more confident than in his first match, and he ended up getting the biggest takedown of the day, which was really amazing. He ended up on the top of the guy, but he rushed for the transition and the guy timed him and swept him. The rest of the match was pretty boring story. The guy just stayed on the top of him for next 3 minutes, and Matt's opponent ended up winning by domination. But I think Matt was a lot better fighter than him. He just didn't have it on the day.
After my 2 fights, I was so disappointed in myself. I'd lost 2. It could have been worse. I could have lost 2 by tap out, but I lost 2 by decision. It just wasn't my day. All week I'd been doubting myself. It's something I don't want to ever do again. Before I got into the cage, the boys were telling me about the stories when they used to travel, and they used to travel in groups with heaps of guys, and whoever did the worst of the day, they had to carry everyone's bags home. And at the end of the day, I did the worst out of all of them. They absolutely kicked ass, and so it was my turn to take all the bags home, and I think I deserved it.
After the lockdown tournament, we decided with Daniel start with the freestyle wrestling classes, especially for the mat, and show him how he can use the freestyle techniques in a grappling or jiu-jitsu. Also, if something doesn't work, how to change and go for something other is what we call chain wrestling. I mind it's gonna be a bit difficult for Matt because he never done it freestyle before, and the concept of the match is a bit different in the wrestling and in grappling, but I think he's gonna get good.
On the belly.
I think he will do very well because he's so excited for wrestling and he really likes freestyle, and I can't wait to show him what I learned in the training camps and all the competition which I've done it before.
We're gonna wrestle who take a point staying in the middle. 7 minutes, buddy. We're gonna see who is the sickest cunt ever. If I, for example, grab your legs and I throw you out, I got the points. I'm staying in the middle and opposite.
So tonight, Jacob's freestyle class, it was an amazing class, and it ended with the circle knockout challenge. So the idea was they put a 5 meter perimeter around. Me, Marty and Jacob, we took turns at standing in the center of the circle, and the idea was to not concede a point or not get thrown out of the circle. So if an elbow, a knee or a head touch the ground, that's a point. You're out, the next guy comes back in and tries to eliminate you. And for the whole 7 minutes, Marty and I struggled to get Jacob out. I think I got him out once, and I think Marty got him out once. He's just unbelievable. And for me, coming from more of a jiu-jitsu background, it's a lot harder for me to pick up some of the techniques that these guys have had drilled into them since they were 8. But I think working with these guys like Marty and Daniel, who have Slovakian national wrestlers, and then Jacob being 8th in the world, it's just, I can't have anyone better to train with, and I don't think I'm going to have any trouble at all with these 3 guys by my side.